Cool Hand Podcast, something you got to deal with. Welcome back to the show. I'm your host. My name is Q. Special episode in the building. Special episode in the building. We're not at that nice, discreet, that nice location we were at last time. Sorry, we're back at the apartment. So if you hear weird noises or talking in the background, hopefully you don't. But I'm in an apartment. That's what happens. Maybe one day I'll be fortunate enough to live in a house and have my own privacy, but we're back at the apartment. Special episode alert. We have a review of a phenomenal 5-track EP called Somewhere Soon by the man, the myth, the legend, Crowded Places. By the way, have a drink. Hopefully you're relaxed right now and you're in an area where you can just chill out and you're willing to listen to the Cool Hand Podcast and have a drink. I took a sip of this beforehand. This is Douce. I wanted to give it a shot, and it's not as good as the Hennessy VSOP. It's not as good. I'll just let you know now. It's good, I guess. It's good. It's cool. It's cool. Just not for me. Anyway, Somewhere Soon. This is a very, we're just going to get straight into it. This is, I'm really privileged and honored to review this record because as many, can I speak? As many of you know, Crowded Places is my homeboy, and to see the artist's progression throughout the years. My bro been doing this since maybe like 2010, I believe. 2010, he was kind of like a late bloomer when it came to the music, and you can check out our interview together from, it was from like right before COVID started, and he talks about how he got into music and so on and so forth. Interesting episode, so you could get the background on him. He released some songs not too long ago, but those weren't original songs. That wasn't an original project because he was going over other people's material. There was one song that And I Wish You Well, that was over a beat that belonged to a rapper already. So this is completely all new, all fresh, all organic material, no GMO, all organic. And so why am I still talking about other stuff? I have notes right in front of me. Like, let's get to it. Somewhere Soon, released November 6, 2020. Somewhere Soon is a 5-track EP of a selection of different musical styles from, you get like traditional hip hop lyricism to even what we would call, or what he aimed for to be bedroom pop on the last song, which is the title song, Somewhere Soon, which we'll get into. It's only 18 minutes long, so if you haven't listened to it already, what are you doing? Go listen to it now. Cut this off. If you had a choice between the Cool Hand Podcast and Somewhere Soon by Crowded Places, released November 6, 2018, only an 18-minute long project, you should pick Somewhere Soon. I'm not going anywhere. As I continue, you experience the different styles, and it has contributions from That T Plus, Johnny Who, and Cool Hand. That's me. That's me. That's me. We're going to talk about that too. That's me. So the art is by Victoria T, who is my most recent interview. You can check that out as well. You can get some background information on the artwork that went into this project. So let's get into the first song. Let's dive right into it. This song is called, you know what? Before I get into that, I'm sorry. You get, with this project, you get the past, the present, and the future. Now, what do I mean by that? You get the past. One of these songs, which we'll talk about, was originally created in 2015. Now, the lyrics are up to date, but the actual beat and all that stuff is from 2015. You get some of the present, the song that I think the bulk of the songs are from this era, meaning within the year at least. I don't have all the facts and information on that. And in the future, when I talk about the future, I think about the direction that Crowded Places is going in with his music. And we're going to get to that later. So, without further ado, now I'm serious. Let's get to the first song, which is called Footer.
But one step is not enough. When two steps are not enough. You need to drift away.
The song Footer is the perfect intro track of this 5-track EP. It's the intro, but it also could have served as an outro. And I call this the Song of Solace. The Song of Solace. There is a grim sound to it, but it's also comforting. You have a lot of emotion in Crowded Places' voice. And it's coming from a place of pain, which all of these songs, I feel, come from a place of pain, but you hear it in the tune. And I wouldn't even know how to describe the song or put it into a genre. It's easy to pick apart a hip hop track, but when you have different sounds, he's using auto-tune. It's hard to put this in a category, in a genre. Of all things, I would just generally group it in alternative because I can't put it in any other genre. It's wistful yet comforting to those who may feel stuck. A theme of this song is him saying drift away. He said we only drift away so we don't lose. It's the only thing we can control. If you know, then you would know. We just drift when we feel low. Drift away. And he continues to say, drift away. And you literally drift away. Like when I listened to this while exercising a lot. I listened to the entire project while exercising. And how I broke this down was like some people can drift away from other people. Some people can drift away from reality depending on the type of person that you are. So like you think about someone who's afraid of commitment and being involved with, another person. They start dating. You feel that the relationship is getting a little too, it's getting too close, and you think, man, I'm not used to this. You're not used to this, like, this feeling that you're feeling, this love and affection, whatever it is, and you drift away. You might become distant because you don't know how to handle the emotions you're feeling or the love that you're receiving. So you kind of drift away. You can be depressed. Now, I know people who have been depressed and they stop eating. They don't sleep as well. They may sleep too much, things like that. And they drift away from the basic necessities of life because they're trapped in their own depressed state. I hope I'm doing that term, that what I'm saying is doing justice to those who have expressed things like that throughout my life and talking to people. But the song, it invokes emotion. You may not be able to relate all the way. You can be in a happy place, but the thing about music is when you listen to it, it can take you somewhere else. And that's all I got to say about that. When he starts singing on it, like I got all my notes and stuff, so like my mind is racing. So I'm about to butcher the lyrics as I usually do. He goes like, when it's done, ball it up. When you're sad, fall in love. When you feel you done enough, show it out. Dang, I choked. Then he goes, when one step is not enough, and this is my part. When two steps are not enough, you need to drift away. Oh my goodness. I said, yo, my bro. I said, are we doing that? Are we doing that with this record? So like that's like you see how excited I'm getting. That's one of my favorite parts of the joint. That's one of the highlights of this whole thing. Like in my opinion, I love that when he does the when two steps are not enough. Come on, man. Crowded places in the building. Crowded places in the building. So it just sounds so good, and you can sing to it. Clearly, you can sing to it. And this song has a connection. I figured it out too. He thought he was slick and thought he could slip this in there like I wasn't going to figure it out, but I figured it out. It has a connection with another song in this. You know what I'm talking about in this project. So let's move on to the next song, which is called "Lost In" featuring Cool Hand. Oh, I got a lot to talk about. By the way, my price just went up.
Dumb it down above the crowd. Hate me then and love me now and wonder how. All the people that were missing when I was a child. But about me in a person I don't want to smile.
Now, "Lost In" is the explosive song. "Lost In" it seems like it's like a favorite. Between that and "Footer," I use Apple Music, but between this song and "Footer," those like go back and forth as the top song. And "Footer" is personally my favorite, is one of my favorites. "Lost In," it's one of my favorites as well, but it's not like in my top two on this. Even though I'm on it, I show no favoritism toward myself. Anyway, "Lost In" was, since I was a part of this song, I have a little more insight on how it was made. "Lost In" was recorded January 1st, 2020. And I'm so glad we did this because pandemic, like the pandemic, dropped in the United States a couple months later. So the idea was I was off from work. He was off from work. I was going to interview him then. I was going to interview Crowded Places January 1st, 2020. He wanted to make music. I used to do a little bit of rapping back in the day. And I stopped caring for, rapping. Yeah, that's why I'm a podcaster now. And I'm like, all right, we'll make a song, whatever. And he wanted to make it from scratch. That was his vision. That was his idea. He didn't want to write. He didn't want to. Everything was from scratch. The beat, all that. So he gets to my crib with his laptop, a keyboard. I don't even think he had his own microphones. I don't think he brought his microphones with, because I offered to, I'm like, I have two microphones. And this is, I didn't have this microphone that we're using. I didn't have my Rode microphone that I'm not using behind me. I had two microphones, a $30 mic and a $50 mic. I still have them, but they're two dynamic mics that aren't, it's not like they're these super high quality mics, So we have those. And, he's making the beat and I'm uninspired. Like he's making the beat. And I'm just like, we gonna make this song. But like as this beat's coming together, I'm really feeling it. And I never really feel it. I never am feeling a beat enough to write to. I get the writing. I get to the writing. He didn't want us to write. He wanted it to be all organic, Jay-Z style. Okay. Oh, sorry. I'm so unprofessional. I'm checking my phone. I'm getting notifications. It might be an emergency, but anyway, he didn't want us to write. He wanted to do it kind of like Jay-Z style, how Jay-Z records, which is he doesn't write. He gets an idea, he spits it over the track, and then he listens to it back and adds to it. That was the idea. I'm not like that. I'm like, I'm with the idea of making the song in one day, but I can't do that. So I wrote up to a certain point, but after I kind of got writer's block, after the adrenaline of the beat ran off, I'm like, I don't have nothing left. I can't feel a 16. And that's where the whole Jay-Z style, the no writing, no pen, no pad came in. I laid down my vocals, and then he's just like, what are you thinking next? He said, what's the next thing you think of? And at this part, I stopped writing at all the people that were missing when I was a child brought about being the person that don't want to smile. And I'm like, we're listening to it back and he's recording, and I just say, meet the frownies. He can clown me. He can. I'm just saying stuff that rhymes. And when I look back on it, there was a reason why I said meet the frownies. It's a popular song by the band. Back then they were called Twin Sister, but I still wanted to build off of brought about being a person that don't want to smile. Meet the frownies. He could clown. So it was really cool, and it was really fun how that came about. Shout out to my bro, Crowded Places, for making that beat on the spot. Now, of course, he mixed and mastered it later, but all of that stuff was the song was made in one day. I can't stress this enough. Was made in one day with 2 microphones that, two microphones for $50 and $30, just like that. And another thing that I liked, by the way, my verse was like riddled with daddy issues. If you want to know what my verse was about, just talking about like my childhood, the things that I didn't like in my childhood. That's pretty much it. The people that weren't around when I was younger. Can you guess who brought about being a person that don't want to smile? It's sad, man. It's sad. But I'm also on the hook, and I had a piece of writing the hook too, which was pretty cool. Because he's like, we need a hook. I'm like, you're the music guy. Like, I always rapped. I didn't make hooks. I wasn't really like that, So I wanted to kind of jack what The Weeknd does. He had part of the hook written. And I'm like, how about you say it like The Weeknd? Like, I think about it when I close my eyelids. Don't that sound like eyelids, eyelids, when I close my eyelids, I am the Weeknd, da, 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 da. That sounds like some Weeknd stuff, but I thought it fit. But the thing is, he didn't sing it the way I sung it. And that's what I thought about, was when people get an idea, like you think about like the ghostwriters and all that stuff, and people getting credited on albums and stuff like that. I gave him something, but he made it his own. And it was our song together. It's not like Cats is writing other dudes' lines for them. It's the hook. But when he sung it, the idea, I'm thinking in my head, you didn't sing it the way I sing. I'm like, you didn't sing it like that. I'm like, that's not how I sung it, but go off, King. But it sounds way better than what I had. Facts. It sounded way better than what I came up with. So that was that. And he gave me the mic during the hook, and he's like, say something. I'm like, okay. I'm just like, all I need, like some of the vocals that you hear, that's me. But like that came from him passing me the mic saying, do something. Like it was all spontaneous, and that's the best part about this song, and that's why I love it so much, is that it was spontaneous. It just happened. It just happened. And I was just kind of joking around when I'm like, I think about it when I close my eyelids. When I did that, like I'm just having fun. I just like kind of let loose and let go, and it ended up being on the track, and I love it. So my bro, Crowded Places, comes in, yawning often, something is off in him. His verse was riddled with fatigue, tiredness. He don't want to smile either. He said it in his verse. He said, don't you see me smile? Because he's running the race. All I do is rest and race. You get a little bit of rest, but then you race. You're in life. You're feeling your age. So we were both talking about things that were relevant and on our mind. This dude came to the apartment with like a coffee, and like, I forget what time it was, but it was sometime in the morning. He was tired. And that was what was real at the moment. Like, he was tired, and I know the dude. Cat's got full-time jobs. We got responsibilities as adults. this adult thing could be tiring. That he may not specifically have been talking about adulthood, but whatever he was going through at the moment had him tired. And that's how he was feeling. Then on the last verse, we're spitting back and forth. And that was fun. By the time we got to the third verse, he had been at the crib for like a long time. I actually left to go pick my wife up from her job, and she came back, and we finished the song out, and that was that. And, almost like 10 months later, it comes out on an EP. So, yeah, that was Lost In, by Cool Hand being the feature. That's spelled with a C. And Crowded Places on the track. So let's move on to the next song, and that is called Can't Wait, featuring That T Plus. And That T Plus has some backup vocals on that, and we'll talk about that. All right, we're back. Let's talk about Can't Wait. By the way, I'm clearly in different articles of clothing. I put a jacket on. The battery on my camera was actually about to die, and I wanted to just stop the video before it died, and I didn't want to lose anything or anything like that. So yeah, we're back. But anyway, let's talk about Can't Wait. This is the third song, and this is where Crowded Places has a full song of just him rapping, no feature rapping. Now, That T Plus is featured, and he did a little bit of producing as well. He had some production credits. But the most notable thing about this song, in the beat, my wife loves the beat. We were having dinner and everything. My wife definitely is a huge fan of the beat. The beat is great. The production on the whole project is great as a whole. But this song, when it comes to the numbers, isn't the most popular. But what I appreciated, even the information I got in between filming, is people really appreciate aspects of the song. And we're going to talk about that, by the way. I wasn't going to talk about this right now, but when Crowded Places is rapping, I feel like his rapping is slept on because of his voice. Now, we're going to come back to that, because you know what? We're going to come back to that. Hold on to what I just said. Remember what I just said. I feel like his rapping is underrated, unappreciated because of his voice. Hold that thought. Now, Can't Wait. I hear a lot of frustration in this song, a lot of hurt. As I mentioned before, the whole project has a lot of pain and hurt in it. It comes from a personal place, if you ask me. And he's saying on the hook, I can't wait. It's been a long day. He talks about, I'm just trying to get rid of my bad traits. I can't wait. I'm trying to skate through the pain like Nija H. I guess that's a skater and everything. But he's using more of the science when it comes to rapping, like metaphors and similes. And he does that more on the next song, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But just to summarize this song, because I'm not going to spend too much time on Can't Wait. And reading from my notes here, in this song, I feel like he's been pushed to a limit, possibly pushed to a limit driven by his own imperfection. He says that he came a long way and wants to get rid of his bad traits. Crowded Places talks about coming this long way. So when you're coming a long way, it's like that term, I take one step forward and two steps back. That's one of the most, and personally, I can relate to that. I just feel like my whole life is one step forward and six steps back, because my goodness, like, I'm telling y'all. So, back to my initial thoughts on it was, my thinking is, that his coming a long way from how he was in the past, possibly a time that he doesn't favor, or in a general sense, if you can relate to this song, you might have come a long way, and you want to get past an unfavorable time in your life. But through it all, he's just trying to skate through the pain. He's enduring the pain. It's like living with a disease. We all have the disease of imperfection, right? But one of my favorite bars is in that second verse. One of my favorite bars. And he relates turning his problems into WAV files.
I said I was unfazed, I said I was on pace. But get sick and tired of your ways, get sick and tired of your face. Chase me out till I burn down, he insane now and I stay out. I've been mild but ain't pay out, turn my demons into WAV files.
Come on, man. You know, it's like I'm going through all of this stuff, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna put it on wax. His creative outlet is how he gets a form of therapy. If you have something that you like, and not all your problems go away, but it soothes you. That's one of my favorite bars. You know, he takes his problems and puts it on wax and puts it out there for basically the world to see, the world to hear, in a sense. So I love that. That is like, I really enjoy that part of the song. So we were talking about the bars, and I'm gonna use what I said earlier on this next song regarding his voice and how his bars are underrated. Now, this next song is Sing From Your Heart, and in the beginning of this song, you hear like these little sped up Alvin and the Chipmunk like voices, and that's actually from one of my old podcasts. I had one of my homies, Charlie, on, who's a hip hop head. He knows how to, real talented guy, multi-talented, and he dances and all that stuff. So we had him on, and Crowded Place's name was brought up. And around that time, Crowded Places was not putting out music. He was not putting out music. He's just starting to like really get the ball rolling with the music. He's been working for years on so many different projects and songs and styles, and nobody heard it. Like, nobody. This dude has an arsenal of music that nobody heard, including myself. I'm just aware of it. So his name was brought up on this podcast, and Charlie wanted to say, hey, you know, he's a creative. I'm like, nope. No, he's not. He's a resident co-host. He hasn't earned the title of creator. You got to earn it. And I only said that because dude wasn't putting out no music. Like, this interview with Charlie's from like almost 2 years ago, and Crowded Places music was like yet to be heard, like something new. So that's where that comes from. And off the rip, now this song, Sing From Your Heart, he's giving it to you. Like, he's giving it to you from the heart. So after you hear that, you gotta earn it, he starts off with the science. He said, I get it cracking, I crack my knuckles and get the snapping. Did you hear that? He said, I get it cracking, I crack my knuckles and get the snapping. Come on now. So that's the first one. So off the rip, he's already letting you know what type of time and temperature he's on. So you hear bars throughout this entire song, but the thing is, you can hear the aggression in his voice, and you can hear that also on the song Can't Wait, featuring That T Plus. Shout out to That T Plus. And what I didn't mention about Can't Wait is That T Plus was on the background vocals. Great job, my friend. As I continue, I actually wrote down some of these bars because, in a sense, when you hear that, right after I say you got to earn it, you got to earn that, you know, title of creator, in a sense, he is responding to critics, responding to those like, oh, you got to earn it. Watch this. I get it cracking. I crack my knuckles and get the snapping. And so let's talk about some of these bars. All right. I get it cracking. I crack my knuckles and get the snapping. I know they lacking. I feel it happen. I let it happen. Old fashioned. My whole style is so classic. I'm back to spazzing. These gastric rappers is full of acid. Yeah. So, have y'all ever heard of esophageal reflux? These gastric stomach rappers is full of acid? Come on, dog. I told y'all that he came to spit. So, he's really, he came to spit. And about this song, he addresses everything. When you think about the theme of sing from your heart, when you think about someone who's singing from their heart, what are you thinking about? Someone who's given their all in their singing. Someone you can sing from your heart without even being a good singer. I know, and you know what? The person who's listening or watching this right now probably can't sing. But when you're alone and you're listening to "And I'm Telling You I Ain't Going Nowhere," listening to that Jennifer Hudson version, and you start singing your heart out thinking you're Jennifer Hudson, but you're not. But you really, like, you're like going off like you're her. And you're singing like you're giving it your all. So you're singing from the heart. You're throwing some passion, some emotion in it. And that's what he's doing on this track. He's spitting from the heart, and he's talking about things from, he's boosting his rapper ego, by the way, too, on there. You didn't have to say, you know what I'm saying? Like, he had to be a hip hop, person, and talk about, I'm so classic, I'm old fashioned and all that. These whack rappers, get back to practice. So you're inflating your hippity hop ego, and that's cool. That's what these rappers do, right? So he talks about people's. And on the subject of egos, he talks about people gassing up other people on social media. I know y'all see that. And how social media inflates egos. He talks about love. He talks about friendships, bonds, things like that. And as I finish this song up, because I want to spend some more time talking about the next song, one of the most powerful lyrics in these songs, or some of the bars, he said, "She took a piece but left enough that I wouldn't break, left a hole in my heart with enough room for hate. When I'm consumed by the dark, I should know." I be butchering lyrics left and right. Run that back. I feel like Sue Surf.
Left a hole in my heart with enough room for hate. When I'm consumed by the dark, I should bow and pray. But sometimes I give that time to the pleasure of pain. I'm sorry, God always said I'd do better with age.
I'm gonna let that breathe. I'm gonna take a sip. I felt that. I really felt that one. That personifies what you're supposed to do versus what you do in reality. Sometimes I know I should bow and pray, but sometimes I give that time to the pleasure of pain. It's like we all know. Oh, you know what? I'm going to relay lyrics to other lyrics. No, I'm not. We all know not to touch a hot stove. But sometimes you're aware. You can be aware that there's a hot stove. I hope everybody can feel me with this, because it makes sense in my mind. And then it's like you touch the hot stove anyway. You know you're not supposed to touch the hot stove. You know you're supposed to cross at the crosswalk. That's where the lights are and all that other stuff when you're walking on the street. But you wanted to jaywalk. So you jaywalk and you get hit by a car. Now, who would be in the wrong if you got hit by a car and you was jaywalking? You might have thought you was all clear to cross the street and make that little, you know what I'm saying? And you got hit. Whose fault is it? So you know what you're supposed to do, but you don't always do it. And then at the end, he ends that with, I'm sorry, I always said I'd do better with age. So at this age, at this point in his life, at this stage of what should be maturity, you still make decisions that maybe aren't in your best interest. The next song is called Somewhere Soon, which is the title track. Now, this is an underrated song in my opinion. It is my second favorite song behind Footer. It is a bedroom pop, and I also grouped this in just the general alternative style of music because I couldn't put this in a genre. Synths are a prominent part of this song, and I think the synths take the song to a different level, and it's on the chorus. The synths are on the chorus, and the most important instrument of all things on this song is Crowded Place's voice. Now, why do I say that? The voice is raw. The voice is free. And I feel it more. You have to listen to this project with headphones on. Don't listen to this with speakers. Don't disrespect the music. Unless you got some like crazy speakers. Just clarify that. And I can tell that he's been working on his voice. You know, he started making music X amount of years ago. He started out with the beats, then the raps got way better. Then the singing got better. And I hit him up and he said it's one of his favorites because, and I quote, he found a new way to use his singing voice. And I would think personally that has to be a very proud and satisfying moment for an artist. He's been doing this for, 10 plus years, and he still finds new ways or discovers ways he can use his talents. And as I mentioned before, his voice is more raw than anything. And one thing about every single song on this project is every song has layers to it. What I didn't mention about the song Footer is that there was the cello at the end of the song. And it's okay that I talk about Footer again because I'm going to talk about it in cooperation with this song because they are my two favorites. When you think about the artistry, when you think about how important music is, listen to this man's music. He puts a lot of work into this music. I'm just being real with y'all because I know the bull too. I know him. Don't forget that I know him. And I've been around. He got merch. With things like this, with this craft, he's not getting paid off this. He's not getting no real chicken off music. He does it for the love. All bias aside, I have respect for any artist, and this is a part of the reason why I do this podcast. I have respect for any artist who is willing to put in the time, put in the pain, out of the love for what they do. And everything comes together with the love and all that stuff on this project, and especially on my two favorite songs, Footer and Somewhere Soon. He had the cello on Footer. He doesn't play the cello. He had to pay for that. He had to pay for that. Which one of your music making friends are paying for strings? I left that part open so you could think about it. It's probably none. There's a lot of work that gets put into this music. There's a lot of thought. There's a lot of learning that gets put into this music. So with the song Somewhere Soon, it's not your hippity hop. It's not your auto-tune filled. It's not a gimmick. It's a real song. And I had a hard time listening and reading the lyrics. Listening to and reading the lyrics. I had a hard time interpreting this song. I'm just keeping it tall. I had a hard time interpreting this song. I'm thinking, how am I going to talk about the lyrics? Sometimes I can't fully speak on sounds because I'm not a producer. I can't fully break down the instruments and things like that. But you know what? I know how the music makes me feel. I know how the music makes me feel. I know how hearing that rawness of his voice makes me feel. It's like watching a good movie. It's like watching a good movie. One of the things that I said earlier was that one of the songs invoke emotion, provokes emotion. And that's what I get from hearing Somewhere Soon, excuse me. So a synth heavy song, and he also put out the visuals to this song as well, which Victoria alludes to in our interview together. He's repeating on the hook, somewhere soon, somewhere soon. Somewhere soon, somewhere soon. And in these visuals, it's the paper airplane floating over a river. The video is so fitting to the song and the feel of the song. You know, when I look at the visuals for this song, I kind of get, you think about Tame Impala's Inner Speaker, the album cover. Think about that album artwork. Now think about it moving. And that's what Somewhere Soon is. It brings those colors to life. You're floating through colors. You're floating through a stream of different colors that all are so appropriate to the music. It just works. Sometimes things just work. Now, when I got on to a certain part of this song, that's where something started to click. Something started to click. A light bulb went off in my head and I got to thinking. Now, toward the end of the song, he sings the lyrics. I've been holding on to the wind to fall my way. Fall my way. And when it comes, I'll be in my own way. It's somewhere soon. It all makes sense. It all makes sense. I've been holding on to the wind to fall my way. And when it comes, I'll be in my own way. It's somewhere soon. Didn't I say in the beginning of this that Footer was connected to a song? Okay. Anybody with a half a brain cell probably figured out that I was talking about Somewhere Soon because I went through the other 3 tracks and didn't say it was connected to that. So I drew a comparison. Now walk with me now. I hope you're all with me because it's not that hard to interpret. Now with the Song of Solace I call, which is Footer, he's talking about drifting away. Okay? So when you drift away from something, That's all you can control. You can control drifting away. So I think about the theme of Footer falling away, drifting away from a person, a situation, and then hoping for something better. Whoa, whoa, whoa. So you drift away like this paper airplane over the stream in these visuals. And you just hope for something better. You hope that the wind takes you somewhere. Somewhere that you just, somewhere that's better than the last place. Somewhere, anywhere. Maybe you're desperate. I don't know. But you have that hope that that place is somewhere soon. Cool Hand Podcast, something you got to deal with. Easy.